House and the Senate are back in session this week. The Senate comes back, they're going to do a water quality bill, and the House has two major pieces of legislation on its agenda. The Highway Trust Fund bill, they're going to try to pass a long-term authorization for that legislation, and then the Defense Authorization Bill. We're paying very close attention to both of these bills. The Defense Authorization Bill has been used over the last couple of years as an incubator or a vehicle for financial services policy. And this year the Highway Trust Fund bill has some financial services implications as well. So you wouldn't expect that credit unions would be involved in the Highway Trust Fund bill. But this year there is potential to use this legislation as a vehicle to advance some financial services policy. It really all goes back to the fact that the House and the Senate are using an offset that affects national banks to pay for the broader bill. They're cutting the dividends that are paid to shareholders in the Federal Reserve banks, which are essentially national banks. They're cutting that dividend in order to pay for the legislation. And as you can imagine, banks aren't that happy about that. And in response to that, leaders on the Financial Services Committee have filed several amendments to the Highway Trust Fund bill to try to advance some regulatory relief policies. So we have seen the CFPB Commission bill introduced as an amendment to the Highway Trust Fund. We have seen the privacy notification bill that we support introduced as an amendment to the trust fund. And then just yesterday, Chairman Henserling filed a broad regulatory relief amendment that covers many different things, including our privately insured credit union provision. This is the provision that would allow privately insured credit unions to join the Federal Home Loan Bank system. Now, we don't know at this point whether any of these amendments will be made in order by the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee will meet on Tuesday to determine what amendments are allowed, but we're keeping a real close eye on this because there's potential to advance some rate relief policy. As usual, we're following a number of hearings on both sides of the Capitol. On Tuesday, the House Financial Services Committee is going to hold a full committee markup of pending legislation. Most of these bills are bills that are coming out of the Financial Institutions Subcommittee or the Capital Markets Subcommittee. We'll be following that markup very closely. On Friday, the Small Business Committee is going to hold a subcommittee hearing in Las Vegas, Nevada. And the hearing's going to be on regulatory overload. They'll be hearing from representatives of small businesses and small financial institutions and listening to them to discuss how federal law and federal regulation is keeping them from doing their jobs even better. One of the witnesses is Robin Simmers, who's president and CEO of Pahranagat Valley Federal Credit Union in Alamo, Nevada. And she'll be discussing the regulatory burdens that her small credit union faces as they try to serve their members. Very pleased to have Ms. Simmers as the witness at this hearing. I know she's going to do a great job, and it's going to be a good way for us to highlight credit union regulatory burden.